Hey guys, wow, 9,000 subscribers, 9K for a non-monetized channel. Started back on June 4th, 2008 to replace the channel that I lost, that I had for about a year and a half. Yeah, I had a channel. It was called Wal-Mart. That's just Wal-Mart, Walmer. And I had that from December of 06 to June of 08. Excuse me. And everybody was always curious. I was curious. And my nephew, my oldest nephew, who is right now going to be ironically 25 this year. That's a surprise. It's a huge surprise. Because his cousin, my niece, is going to be 28. But anyway, he at that time, back in 2008, said that he had hacked into my site and deleted it, or reported, or did something. I don't really know. But what I do find ironic back then was I did a rant video, whatever you want to call it, on a certain website that likes to make a mockery of people. It's sort of a parody of Wikipedia and encyclopedia. What is it called? It's an online encyclopedia, Demanica, whatever. And this is just a parody of both Wikipedia and encyclopedia. And they like to use their website to make a mockery of people. So I went on a rant, and I don't know if that caused my channel to get blasted or what. But since since I already learned my lesson previously, I realized, hey, I got a new a new website. Not a new website. I got a new email through Xfinity/Comcast. Let's go with that, and that's what's been going ever since. But yeah, 9,000 subscribers, or actually 9,001 subscribers plus, probably by now. And in conjunction, 50th podcast episode, because I will be audioing this as well. But I did say I was going to do somewhat of a unique Q&A to where I would answer certain questions that I'm sure people wonder and ask about, but I'm not going to have them ask me the questions. I'm going to be the one that kind of puts the questions up there, and maybe you guys can kind of think about the answers I give afterwards. Because like I said before, actually yesterday when I did the live Topics on My Mind stream, I basically said that I'm doing this because of the fact that there's a lot of people out there that if I was to do a live Q&A or ask people to provide me with questions, that they would try to provide me with questions to try to humiliate me, make me look weird. So I'm going to limit it to 6 questions that I'm going to come up with. So without further ado, let's get this going. Okay, so this is a question obviously a lot of people ask me, and and even my own family pretty much would ask me this. How did I become a fan of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic? Now, we all know My Little Pony is originally meant for younger kids, young girls, younger kids, and all that. And I think what attracted, and I wouldn't say attracted me, but at first I wasn't like really sure about it. For those that could probably watch, for those watching this on YouTube, not listening through it on the podcast or anything, but watching it, you can pretty much tell in the background that a lot has changed when it comes to my stance to MLP. But pretty much, long story short, originally I wasn't too sure about it. I thought, okay, it's My Little Pony, it probably won't last too long. And then all of a sudden, as we got into the earlier seasons, later on, I should say, in the earlier seasons, I started to hear about this fandom just coming out of nowhere. This fandom of adult fans, and how appealing, the show was becoming to them through its characters, its stories, and all that. I think because of the diversity of the diversity and uniqueness of the characters amongst each other, and I think that's what really brought them together. And it was also, like I said, it was the stories. I think it was the stories as well. Well, actually, I do believe it was the stories that brought them together. And what I did, and it's still on my YouTube channel, I did a video back in 2012 where I said, which is entitled "I'm Not a Brony," and I basically said, look, I respect what the series has done. I respect the fact that it's created this fandom, but I'm not a brony. I'm not. I'll check it out once in a while, but I'm not a brony. But over time, I think I started to slowly become one, because throughout some of my videos, when me and my family still lived on Thoroughbred in Patterson, I started to talk about some episodes. I started to talk about some characters and where I think things were going. And the characters that really I started to talk about a lot more was Princess Luna, Rarity, and Spike. And as I've mentioned before, the reason I've talked about those three characters is because, one, a lot of people were getting behind Luna, and I wanted to know what the reason was. And when I found out, it's because Luna is a kind of rebellious character. And it's also because, as I found out later on, along with everybody else, we didn't see her after her initial appearance at the end of the series premiere. We didn't see her until later on in the second season in Luna Eclipsed. And it wasn't really explained much of how, why her appearance changed or anything like that until the comics came around and said, okay, this is how it happened. So I became a fan of hers because of the fact that, like a lot of people, they saw a lot in this character, not just for the fact that she was gone for one whole season after her initial appearance, but when she did arrive, you started to see that this was a princess that, unlike Celestia at first, her sister Celestia, at first, was a very rebellious, very mischievous character that liked to get personal, with her subjects. And I don't mean that in a gutterish kind of way, as some people would put it, but like to be one-on-one with them, kind of talk things out with them, kind of take action, kind of help them out. And what I and everybody else liked about Luna as well is the way she did this was she became a mentor. Mostly she became a mentor towards the CMCs, the Cutie Mark Crusaders, because she could understand where they're coming from. But yeah, she was one of the reasons, and then Rarity and Spike and their relationship was another reason, because what young guy, whether they're a kid or someone like let's say, for example, just recently at WrestleMania, Otis of Heavy Machinery in WWE, what guy doesn't have a thing or have feelings for the girl next door, this beauty, if you will? And that's kind of what Spike was, Spike felt towards Rarity, and that's kind of relatable to a lot of us, because we've all been there. All of us guys have been there. And again, I bring up the similarities almost identical to Otis and Mandy Rose, because Mandy is like a Rarity. They even showed a security footage camera, storyline wise, of her basically acknowledging to her now former friend that she thought Otis was kind of cute was cute in a kind of a unique kind of way. So basically it's kind of in that territory of that relatable territory of, you know, where Spike's coming from, because what guy doesn't dream of being with the girl? All of his dreams, especially someone like Rarity. And that's what I think attracted a lot of people to Spike and Rarity as an item, as well as individual characters. But again, you know, I became a fan, you know, not just through that, not just those characters, but like I said, through word of mouth. You know, I heard people like AC Race Best, who it took me a while to even realize, oh yeah, I've met this guy before online at the Acorn Cafe, which is a fan website for Chippendale Rescue Rangers. You know, it took me a while to realize, oh, I know who this guy is. So, to basically, you know, see that there are fans of other franchises I was fans of becoming fans of this, that kind of spoke to me as well. Like, if there are fans of Sonic the Hedgehog Satayam, which had the characters of Sally and Bunny and Sonic and all them, and there are people that were fans of Rescue Rangers, Chippendale Rescue Rangers, converging over to My Little Pony Friendship's Magic, that spoke to me. It's like, there has to be something there. So I watched a few episodes, a few clips here and there, and I thought, hey, this is not bad. This is not too bad. And I started to slowly and by that time, which was like a year or two, 3 afterwards, that I did that I'm Not a Brony video, I started to collect merchandise, like little Funko minifigures and stuff. And the end result is what you see here and all across the board, you know. And as well as what's known as PMVs, Pony Music Videos, you see that across the board as well. And again, it all culminated with about a year ago or so, I came out and said on Facebook, said on YouTube that I've done a 360, a 180 or 360, and that is, I am now a Brony. I became a fan. So yeah, you know, I just think for someone like me with a slow build, like at first I kind of didn't really get into it and understand it, and then I started to kind of understand but not fully get to that point yet. And it wasn't until just recently I'm like, you know what, I'm not going to deny it anymore. I've become one. You know, I've become a Brony. You know, I've become part of the fandom. And I really, really appreciated that. So, I really appreciated doing that for myself, because now I'm not hiding it. I'm not really hiding it, you know, as much. I mean, the fact that I took a bus to Turlock on the official opening day, which was a Friday, October 6th, to see the movie, that's saying something. So yeah, you know, so yeah, when I look back on it, it's, you know, so when I look back on this whole decade and the fact that it took me a while for the series to grow upon me, I don't have no regrets about it, and I'm glad I became a fan, because you know what? When I look at My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, it's the kind of show right now that we need to watch and enjoy to get our minds off what's going on. For how long I've been working at Walmart, which I am going to be working today at for 4.5 hours. I've been working there initially at this one for about 6 years now. 6 years, and it's going to be on the 18th of this month. It'll be 6 years, 2 months. But initially, overall, if I was to look at it from a whole, between August 2006 till now, Walmart has been the primary job employer for me. But if I look at it from 2006 to now, this August, had things worked out the way I was hoping they would, it would be 14 years straight that I'd be working for this company. And the reason I bring that up is I originally started with Walmart back in 2006. Basically what happened is And it was so crazy. I'll never forget this. I went on my computer. It wasn't this laptop. It was what's known as the Beast, as my as my one of my counselors, was independent counselors, financial workers, alluded to me, because I went to what is known as Rent-A-Center, and rent to own, and started to do a rent to own on a computer. So long story short, I went on the computer when I got home in 2006, because I had come out here for my birthday and unexpectedly had to be here a lot longer because my grandpa had passed on my birthday. So I went back, and the goal was to get back here. I made the decision as soon as that all went down. It's like, I don't know if it was just an emotional thought, but I just stuck with it that I'm heading home. 2007, Thanksgiving, I'm going to be home. And that's what I did. And I'm not making this up. I get home, and about a couple of days afterwards, I get on the computer. I go to Walmart.com and I apply online. That's what I did, because you could do that then as well. I applied online, and almost immediately I get a phone call, and it says, "Hey, can you come in for an interview?" It's like it just popped up out of nowhere. It's like, yeah, sure, I can come in. And before I knew it, I was working from late August 2006 to mid-November, early November 2007 as an unloader, or as we call them, a cap team member now, in the warehouse area of the store where we would, unload the trucks. That's where I was working. And my initial plan was to transfer to the Walmart in Modesto. That way I would be able to take a bus, go to the Modesto store, and go from there and work, with the initial thought that if something was to be built Walmart wise in Patterson, which we didn't know about at the time, I would transfer over to that. And it would be about 5.5 years before we had a Walmart get built there, and it's the Walmart I work at right now. And it was like, we were always wondering, we gotta have something. And finally, it's like the town just rallied behind this, and next thing we know, we had a Walmart. And I was one of the first, not one of the first like right in line or anything, but I was like one of the first 50 or so people in there, just to look around and see what it was like. Little did I know that the place that that I walked into for the first time, and little did I know that the place I would lay away the sound bar for our living room would be the place that I would be working at. Because it was the place I'd be working at. So yeah, like I said, long story short, I originally started with the company back in 2006, and like I said, if things worked out, I would have been with the company 14 years straight. They initially still had me under employment up until about January 2007, because they wanted me to go to the Livermore they wanted me to go to the Walmart in Livermore, but that wasn't going to work out because my mom, she would have had to take me, and from what I understand, the Walmart in Livermore was like across from where she was, like not like across the street, but just across town kind of deal, and that wasn't going to work. So I had to wait, and I had to wait initially 7.5 years before I got back in. But like I said, if things worked out, I'd be celebrating 14 years this August, and that's huge. But initially with this Walmart, it's been 6.5 years, and I have seen a lot go on at this store. I've worked a majority of the hours needed to work when you're working with this place. When I lived in Patterson, I was open to any hours. During the I was open to any hours during the work shift, the day shift and all that. I was willing to work opening. I was willing to work midway through the day. I was willing to work to the closing, stuff like that. But when we ended up moving here to Newman, I had to I still was doing the schedule and doing that schedule, but eventually I had to close my schedule out to where now initially it's 8:30 to 5:30. At Monday through Friday. So yeah, I've been working there for, like I said, 6.5 years. Been working with some of the same people. Most of the people that I got hired with are no longer there. Some are, some aren't. So, but a majority of them are not there anymore. And I think the reason, if anybody wonders, why I get so much respect sometimes by a lot of people that I've worked with and some of the new people, because I'm someone that has stayed with this company, has stayed with this store through thick and thin. Even as we're going through the situation we are now, I've stuck with them. So yeah, I've been with the store for a while. I've been with the store during both passings of both my grandmas. I was with the store. My dad's mom passed literally about, what was it, 4 months or 5 months after I got hired. I had to take a bereavement, go to Kansas to be there with my father along with my sisters. And then I had to take a bereavement just last year because my grandma passed in February of last year, before her birthday, my mom's mom. So yeah, I've been through a lot. I've been through a lot with this, working here. And honestly, when I look back on it, I wouldn't change a thing. Would I like to get, a little higher up in position? Yeah. But it's going to take time. And God has a time and a place, as my mom says, for things to happen. So yeah, initially with this store, it's been 6.5 years. Overall, had things worked out, it would have been 14 years. But if I was to take the 1.5 years and the 6 I'm doing right now, you're looking at 8 years straight, or 8 years in total with this company. So yeah, that's basically how long I've been working for Wal-Mart. That's basically how long it's been. That's a good question, because a lot of people, even my family, kind of ask me that, even up to this day. Do I regret not living on my own anymore? It's kind of hard to answer, because there are times I do regret it. But there are times I don't, because I have family. I'm living with family. I'm still. Here's the thing about my situation. When I lived on my own, yeah, I had a lot of freedom. I was able to hang as much as I wanted on the walls and not worry about anybody saying anything. So, do I regret it? Do I regret it? Like I said, it's hard to say. Because I'm still able to maintain the way I live, do what I want, just about. But do I regret it in total? Like I said, it's hard to say. Were there some things that living on my own I got to do and benefit from? Yeah. But I lived around people that had problems. Mostly it was seniors. But, like I said, most of them were seniors. Some of them had disabilities. And there were moments I had at that apartment complex, Prairie Ridge Apartments in Lawrence, that, that I wasn't too, too fond about, because I had people coming up to my door or telling me to keep quiet, tone it down. I had someone call me name. I mean, we had one guy that would go up and down the walls, and even did it to me and call us, vulgar names. And there are things I don't regret about moving. I'll tell you that. Um, but yeah, it's kind of 50-50. There are some things I do miss, I do regret about moving, but there are some things I don't regret, because I'm still able to maintain the way I am. It's just the difference is I live with family now, and that's about it. So, there is that. When did I start doing career wrestling leagues or CAW leagues? As far as like video games are concerned, I've been doing them for about almost a decade now, over a decade actually. I started, I think, around 2010, 2011. I had things, different leagues they would come up with, like UCW or DWCWA or something like that. Until I just came upon DCWA, and that was it. Um, yeah, but I've been doing them for almost a decade, about a decade. And I think it's because I've noticed back then and even now that there were a lot of leagues, even the ones I noticed then, still going now. They were becoming very popular, like CCL, which is called Champions League, DCA, Destiny Championship Alliance, and you had others, like you had ECCW. Um, you had another that's still going today, which is SCAW, Superstars of Car, Superstars of Creator Wrestling, if you will. XGWL or XWGL, something like that. You just had a lot of created leagues out there that people like me were just putting together, because basically you were given the opportunity to create um, your own original characters, or create CAW wrestling characters or characteristics of established characters that you could cross over in matches with other characters you normally wouldn't see them go against. For example, I remember even with the limitations that we had, I did Cindy Bear, God rest Julie Bennett, you know. But I remember I did Cindy Bear against Fawn Deer in one of the WWE games I had. I did Sally Acorn against Cleo the Cat, stuff like that. So, in fact, one of the more popular videos I have is my SmackDown vs. Raw 2011 All-Star Rumble that I did, and Tribute to the Troops, which I've gone into like the 100, 200,000 plus range of viewers. So, yeah, I got into it a long time ago when I started noticing these other ones popping up, and I just decided to kind of get in on the action. And for the past almost like 4 or 5 years now, it's just been DCWA and just going with that, and seeing what you know else I can come up with. I mean, now that we have more options, creative options and stuff, we can be more creative, and I'm happy about that. I mean, if this WrestleMania CPV that I did recently isn't an example of that, I don't know what is. Um, but yeah, I've been doing it. I got into it, like I said, almost a decade ago, and that's how long I've been doing it. And I'm going to continue to do it. I wanted to do it with 2K20, but we all know what happened there. So here's hoping 2K21 will kind of fix that situation. But yeah, just but yeah, I've been doing it for ever since then, and like I said, for about a decade or so now, and I'm just glad to be having something to do on the side besides, something to do, I should say, on the side, besides just coming home from work and resting and all that, after a long day. So, but I thought I'd just but yeah, that's just about it. That's why I've been doing it for a long time. Like I said, that's not how long I should be. I should say I've been doing it. I think both the new DuckTales series and Tangled series, which just recently ended, I thought both were okay. I mean, I haven't watched both of them, episodically, like episode after episode. Like with ponies, I'm going off by word of mouth of how good they are, and apparently they're very good. I mean, this is why there are times I talked about them and gave my thoughts on them. And so again, I'm just going by what people say. But overall, if I was to give a general consensus on it, I'd say, like I said, I think both are good. I like the fact that Tangled. I like the fact that Tangled takes place. Um, I like the fact that Tangled takes place between the short and the short that came afterwards, which was Tangled Ever After, and the movie. So I like that. So I like to explore that, you know, explored the um, explored the mythos between behind the magic of the hair and where it came from and stuff. So I like that they did that. I like that they went as far as they did, as deep as they did, as to why certain events in the movie happened the way they did. Like with Mother Gothel kidnapping Rapunzel and the fact that she had another daughter and Cassandra. So I like that. I really did. So I really appreciated that. I appreciate when they're able to build off the lore of something already established. As far as DuckTales goes, I'm happy that they rebooted it. I'm happy that it's getting more of a modern take as to what could potentially be. I like the fact that it's staying true to the original Carl Barks or Carl Banks shows, and I do apologize for that in the background. That's my mom laughing at something. Um, but like I said, I like the fact that, you know, DuckTales 2017, 2020 now is an expansion on the original ideas that Carl Banks had, and is more of an expansion now of what a lot of us fans grew up with when it came to shows like DuckTales, and I'm glad it's being done by people that grew up on the Disney Afternoon as well, because now we're seeing influences of the Disney Afternoon from Darkwing Duck, Gummy Bears, to now we have Goof Troop coming in, we have Tailspin coming in, we have Rescue Rangers. I like all that. I like the fact that they're incorporating things like Gene the Genie from the movie, the 1990 movie, so I like all that. So my general thoughts on both shows is I'm just glad, we have creative people behind the scenes that are that understand what we want in these kind of shows, because they grew up watching these kind of shows and realizing that, hey, there's got to be more to certain elements of a character, and there has to be certain stories behind it and stuff like that. So I like that. I really do. And that's all I can really say. So I really appreciate what I appreciate is the fact that we have people, like I said, that grew up on the shows like I did, working on these shows and giving them that boost that they need, that boost of nostalgia and lore and everything that fans really want. Like they're doing what should have been done a long time ago, and that's answering the questions that fans have always wondered about this or that when it comes to these kind of characters and scenarios and franchises. So those are my thoughts on. So honestly, again, I appreciate what we're getting. I'm definitely gonna be paying attention to season 3 of DuckTales, because if this is setting up the Disney Afternoon Television universe officially, I'm all in. That's all I'm gonna say. The Tangled one, again, I'm glad that they went the direction they did, because you know what, you know, because you know what? Even though people might think it's unnecessary, you have to wonder, was it just all peace between the end of the movie and into the short, or was there something more? And I think when they came up with the idea to do Tangled the series, they said, there's got to be something more to it, and I'm pretty sure they realized that fans were going to ask that, if not already asked that, and they decided just to go with the series to answer those questions. So, again, my thoughts on both series is I have a lot of respect for what we're getting. I like the fact that we got people behind it that grew up on these kind of shows that are like, hey, let's do something more. Let's do what we couldn't do back then. Let's do it now. Let's go in directions we couldn't do that, originally. Let's go there. So honestly, I like both of them. And again, like I said, DT season 3, I'm going to be keeping a lot of attention to that. I can tell you that. My thoughts on the future of the Sonic comics, because right now the Sonic comics are being published by IDW Comics, but as we know, right now going on is IDW Comics is kind of stopped for the time being, not saying how long that's going to be. I would assume it'll only be, in my opinion, at least till May, mid-May, early June, that they may restart again. We'll have to wait and see. But right now, my thoughts on the future of the Sonic comics, because, they still have issues they need to publish to finish off this Zombot arc that got started last year that, quite honestly, in my opinion, and I've said this before, I believe has run its course. It needs to come to an end. It needs to just be done with, because look, I understand why they did it. They want to establish that this version of the Sonic comics is a lot darker than the ones done by Archie, because now it's like no character, not even new characters like Tangle, are off limits when it comes to being infected. But here's the thing. Honestly, I think speaking of infection, I think they just need to get this Zombot arc done with, period, because I don't think anybody wants to read a story anymore that, it is fictional, but kind of plays on something we're going through right now, and I don't think anybody wants to read on that, especially with the ending that we got on the more recent issues. So I think they need to wrap it up, maybe come up with an alternative story and have it be like a dream that Sonic had, or a nightmare teaching him a nightmare slash dream that he had that teaches him a lesson that, okay, I need to work with you guys. I need to stay with this group and work things out. I don't know. I just think, honestly, it needs to come to an end. I really do. And like I said, maybe they need to come up with a different kind of ending and, for the final issue or something, because this is, one, originally the idea was good, but now that we're going through this pandemic, I don't think it's a good idea to continue the story arc. Just my opinion. But the future, to me, I said this yesterday in the Topics on My Mind video. I think, honestly, if IDW is going to try to survive on their own without maybe selling part of the stock or part of the company, if not the whole company, to someone like Netflix or DC slash Warner Brothers, if they're going to try to survive on their own, I think they're going to have to cut some ties. And whether some of the original titles or not, I think they're going to have to do something. And I think probably, if not the original titles, they're going to probably cut ties with some of the licensed titles like Sonic and TMT and stuff like that. Not saying that, they won't resume. Not saying that they're not. Not saying that they will do that, but because they're only going on hiatus. But I think financially, if you believe what new places like Newsarama and all of them talk about, and you believe what, and I say this with all due respect, what Clownfish TV has to say, I think honestly, they're going to survive on their own financially. They, especially after this is all said and done, they got to cut ties. Financially, if they can't afford to continue paying the royalties, the licensing for these comics based on, for these characters to do comics on, you got to cut ties somewhere. And I think Sonic could be one of those titles. And if that happens, Do I think they could end up back at Archie Comics? Right now, that's up in the air, but I think financially Archie Comics could be that safe haven. Could they continue the Sonic comics, as they are in IDW if they go back? Yeah, absolutely. Could they just restart where they originally ended before IDW came in? Absolutely. I mean, I have, and for those of you can watch this, for those of you watching this on YouTube, I have. I don't know if you can see that up there. I'll zoom in a little bit. For those watching on YouTube, I have up here the issue for 292. Well, not the issue, but the cover of 292 when it was under the Archie license. So if if Sonic was to go back there, should IDW cut ties with them, then so be it. That could be where they start off. Just say, hey, we're going to go start with 292, make it the new number one, and go from there. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities. I think honestly, probably the best option is to go with Archie Sonic Online. Just let them do it. I mean, they're doing a good job anyway now. It may take a lot longer, but I think just let them do it. Let them come up with the the stories and all that. Should IDW have to cut ties? That's my thought. That's my thought. But right now, the future of the Sonic comics is up in the air. But I think honestly, IDW is going to keep the book. Then they need to finish this story arc up. This story arc, this Zombot arc, up real quickly. They need to finish it up. And I think, like I said, come up with an alternate ending, because originally the idea for the story was okay, I guess, but now that we're going through this pandemic, I think it's best to wrap the story up in a more positive way than a negative. So, that's all I'm going to say, though, guys. That's, again, my thoughts are, it's up in the air, and we'll have to wait and see. So yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for this Q&A. It's a unique kind of Q&A for my 9,000 plus subscribers. I know it's not the kind of Q&A where you would ask me questions directly, but like I said, I just wanted to do it because I know how some people are, and I don't want to, chance, what they could ask and try to humiliate and all that. I stuff like that. I know how trolls are, if you catch my drift. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. Maybe down the line I might do a Q&A where I answer legit questions from you guys. And that's about it. So thank you all again for the 9,000 subscriptions. Really appreciate it. Let people know about the channel. Let them know they can find me here. Maybe let's hope to reach 10,000 before July 25th. That's when I turn 41. Can we do that? Let's hope we can. And again, this is also being done for my 50th audio podcast. So, some of the things I talk about, like showing the cover for issue 292, originally of the Archie Sonic comic, that was done for people watching on YouTube. So, hopefully you guys enjoy this as a 50th podcast as well. So, that's about it, guys. Thank you all for listening. And again, thank you for taking the time to listen to this unique kind of Q&A. Maybe I'll, again, down the line, do it where I answer questions directly from you and just see what happens from there. But till next time, guys, thank you all. God bless. Take care. Stay safe. Stay home. And I am out.